Hey, I'm Ryan Johnson, and I wanted to tell you about the Defiance lathe. So back last summer, I had the opportunity to go purchase this lathe and restore it. Took us several months to get it up and running and get it here. But this is a 1904 Defiance Gunstock lathe. Defiance Machine Company was a company in Defiance, Ohio, back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. They were known for their woodworking equipment and later for their woodworking equipment to make automobile parts. So when automobiles had a lot more wood parts, like spokes, they made the machinery to make it. This lathe was commissioned by the U.S. government, U.S. Army Ordnance, to specifically make the 1903 Springfield rifle stock. That was a black walnut stock, had a stock, the fore end, and then also the bayonet handles would have all been made on a machine like this. Springfield Armory had a different type of lathe that they were using there. This would have been used at the Rock Island Arsenal in 1904 all the way through World War II, possibly even into Korea, because they were still using those parts. This lathe was originally built to be used off of the power came from overhead shaft. So originally this had a belt coming off of here going up to the ceiling, large flat leather belt. It also had a belt coming off of right here going to a pretty elaborate setup that allowed the belt to move back and forth. It was converted to electric in the World War II era. And this motor is still original from World War II. I replaced this motor. And so now, instead of using the long flat belts, we use electric motors to run this. There's only one other lathe like this running that I know of, and it's in Canada. A blacksmith in Canada has one, and he has his originally running off of the original flat belts. So it's pretty ingenious how this works. It does a one-to-one copy. The way this works is I have a master pattern back here, and then the blank that I want to cut right here. And those blanks rotate at the same time. They rotate at the exact same speed. And in between these two pieces, there is a carriage that can move back and forth. A follower wheel is back on the master, and it's 9 inches in diameter. And then there's the cutter wheel, which is also 9 inches in diameter. As the follower wheel runs against the master, the cutter wheel cuts the blank. This can move back and forth that way, but it also can move back and forth this way. So it transverses the length of the master and the blank from right to left as it cuts. This machine is known as a Blanchard lathe because it was originally designed, this concept was done back in 1828 at Harper's Ferry Arsenal. So this type of lathe has a very long history, and this lathe in particular has a long history of making 1903 Springfield rifle stocks, possibly M1 Garand stocks as well. We're excited to have it simply for the fact of the history of it. It still has the U.S. Ordnance marks on it. It still had black walnut sawdust from making rifle stocks that it was caked up everywhere that we had to get rid of. The fact that it has a history of making weapons of war going off to World War I, World War II, Korea, and the fact that we're able to still continue using this thing to make handles for American Tomahawk, to make thumpers, to make all kinds of stuff. We're just now getting started with what we can do with this. We'll have hiking sticks down the road. We'll have all kinds of fun stuff. So I appreciate your time, and hope you enjoy seeing the Defiance run.